I don't know if I would ever have imagined myself at 41 racing in the Olympics. Age is just a number, keep on dreaming, don't ever give up. But I think it's important to show up for my team and to set the example, and I'm definitely older than I think every other Olympian, so I need to show up for them just like they show up for me.
All right, Lindsey, so hey, thanks for stopping by. I gotta be honest, I wasn't sure like you would. I think we've been trying to. Well, yeah, we've been trying to get some of your folks. It's tough because they're really protective of your time, and so I'm like, I don't know if she's going to be here. So I'm glad you are, because to me, it tells, and you can answer this, tells a story about maybe how excited you are, not only for your comeback but for the upcoming Olympics.
Yeah, I don't remember if I've ever done a media summit like this before the games ever, and I do think that just shows how excited I am, because my time is valuable and precious, because I don't have a lot of it to train and get myself in a position to be competitive in these games, but I think it's important to show up for my team and to set the example, and I'm definitely older than I think every other Olympian, so I need to show up for them just like they show up for me.
You mentioned your team, and that's another thing that seems, I mean, you've always been a big supporter of your team. You tell them about the run, you help with the training, like it's always been a part of your career. But it seems like now with this comeback that you're even closer to your team, you're having fun with your team, you're messing around with your team, and it seems like that's a big part of this too.
Yeah, I definitely think it is. I mean, I think it's a part of the experience, and also part of what I'd like to give back to the sport. I still remember being a 9-year-old and how impactful Peekaboo Street was to me in my life, and I have an amazing opportunity, just like Peekaboo was when I was on my first Olympic team. I was 17 and she was 30 and retiring. That was her last Olympics, and so this will be my last Olympics, and I'm meeting girls like Allison, who I met when she was a kid at my book signing. It's a very full circle moment. So I feel like it's a privilege to be in this position. It's my responsibility to try to pass along as much knowledge as I can, because downhill is an accumulation of knowledge. You learn so much by racing the same tracks over and over. So I know these hills, and I can give them advice and say things that I wish someone said to me when I was first starting out. But these young women also have such a great attitude and energy about them that it really makes being around them really easy and fun. It's not always that you mesh well with your teammates, and even though I'm twice as old as them, we still get along great. I'm not doing as many TikTok videos as I think they would like.
Yeah, none of us are. So that experience goes a long way, though. You keep mentioning your age. You keep, I'm twice as old as my teammates. But there's a lot to be said about having been to past Olympics. There's a lot to be said about knowing the turns on a run. There's a lot to be said about knowing Cortina.
Yeah. And
having that experience.
Well, I think my age gives me a big advantage, actually. I've definitely been on that track more than anyone else that's in the starting gate. So I have more knowledge than anyone, and I need to use that to my advantage. And I don't say age as necessarily a negative. It's just, it's completely different generations. And again, you don't always mesh with your teammates, and because we're so different in age, you might not assume that we would all get along, but we really do. We have so many different personality types, and we're all working together towards the same goal, and I'm really excited to be on the team with all of them.
How important, when you had that surgery in 2024, and then you started realizing that your knee was back and that the pain wasn't there, that was a pivotal moment in your life, maybe one of the biggest.
It was. It changed my life forever, and no matter what happens, my life is forever different, because I was in so much pain before, and it really affected almost everything I did in my life. And now I can do whatever I set my mind to. If I want to play tennis for 2 hours, I actually can. If I want to go hiking or biking or scuba diving, whatever I want to do, or race in the Olympics, my body is saying yes, and for the longest time it said no. And I retired because my body couldn't take it anymore, not because I personally wanted to end my career. So now I'm privileged and lucky to be able to have the opportunity to say goodbye on my own terms.
And race, potentially, in Cortina. we've talked about this.
Yeah.
Comfort, a place you know well, you've been successful at, and it was the hardest part of your retirement.
Yeah, it was, really hard to retire knowing that Cortina Olympics was coming and I wouldn't be competing. But even so, I don't know if I would ever have imagined myself at 41 racing in the Olympics. I mean, I always had the plan to retire at 30. I never would have predicted almost anything that's happened in my life. And that's kind of a good thing because it's an adventure. It's an ever-evolving story, and you keep learning and growing. And so, again, I do feel really lucky that I have this opportunity, and I'm going to enjoy it every moment. No matter what happens, I'm going to enjoy it.
Still, a downhill ski racer is maybe not wired the same as everybody else.
As anyone, yeah.
Yeah. And so someone would say, man, you messed up your knee doing this downhill racing
Maybe
business.
I shouldn't do it again.
Maybe you shouldn't do it again. But here you are.
But here I am. Yeah, I think maybe some people would have retired after the first injury. My family definitely wasn't jazzed that I continued after so many crashes and so many times in the OR. But, I had the opportunity to fight back. My mom had a stroke when she had me, and she wasn't able to physically come back from that. And I felt like it's my responsibility to try my best and to do what I love to do because she couldn't. And I feel that even more now that she's gone. She would be so happy that I'm here following my heart and my dreams. And it gives me a lot of energy and inspiration to follow with that same attitude that my mom had.
The Lindsey Vonn that people see, Time magazine, right? The cover, and looking so fabulous, and fashion and whatever. I don't know if they, and you do a good job of trying to post it, but I don't know if they see the hard work. I don't know if they see all the sacrifice, all the dry land training. Do you hope they maybe get that message out of you with this comeback, and they understand a little bit of your drive and what makes you so successful with this comeback?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if anyone will ever really know how much sacrifice it's taken for me to do half the things it's taken me in my life, especially in this comeback. But I do try to share those moments. Like, I show a little bit of my working out, just a little bit, and everyone says how hard it looks. I'm like, you guys have no idea. There's just a teeny tiny sliver of what I do. But I think in my last documentary you saw, me crying and me in the OR and all of these moments that were really personal. And it's raw. That's me. I love fashion. I love wearing makeup when I ski and when I'm in the gym. Like, that's part of my personality. That's who I am. But I'm not like this glossy person. I'm just a girl from Minnesota that loves to go fast and loves to dress up. And again, I try to share my journey with people because I hope to inspire them to follow their own dreams, to know that age is just a number. Keep on dreaming. Don't ever give up. But I don't know that anyone will ever truly understand how hard it is to be a ski racer and do what I've done. But I don't need them to. I want them to, like I said, follow their own dreams and do the best that they can, because that's what life's about.
The Olympic spotlight is different than other events that I compete in because Grandma cares. All of a sudden, Grandma cares. So, slopestyle is like a canvas of different features: rails, jumps, transitions. Halfpipe is one jump, one slope, and 5 tricks. That's it. It's more militant than slopestyle.
Militant.
Yeah.
Rigid.
Yeah. But it's classic. It's classic. Halfpipe, it started in surfing and then skateboarding and then snowboarding and then eventually skiing. So halfpipe, I would say, is the most classic discipline in action sports. So, I've had my own personal struggles over the last 10 years with anxiety, with depression, mental health, accompanied with some alcohol abuse. And when you put that literal cocktail together, it does not end up well 99% of the time. And so, my message to people is to not be afraid to reach out for help and use the tools at your disposal, no matter what they are. It could be medicine, it could be therapy, it could be friends, it could be a religion, it could be a crystal, like whatever. I mean, typically you are you're better off if you're more connected to people and to purpose. And you know, it's been a journey, and especially for men in America specifically, it's really hard to talk about these things, you know. So I hope that people can understand that I'm trying to lead by example.
And you're doing well.
I'm doing well, thank you, yes. I'm doing well. I'm always working on it though. I'm not like cured or fixed by any means, but I've got a lot to look forward to. I've got an amazing girlfriend, my 4th Olympics, my family's going to be there. Like, there's so many things to be grateful for, and you know, you just got to keep working on yourself. The Olympic spotlight is different than other events that I compete in because grandma cares. All of a sudden, grandma cares. Like, grandma doesn't care about everything else because everything else has a much smaller, you know, market demographic, but the Olympics is big. And so grandma all of a sudden tunes in and cheers, which is super cool because you have an opportunity not only to inspire like your peers and the people that are in your age group, but also just this worldwide audience that's tuning into this historic event that happens every 4 years. My expectation for Italy is to exceed my expectations. I try to keep my expectations like internal, you know, and they're kind of fluid. But I think going in with like this rigid, like this is my bar and anything else is a failure, I think is maybe not a wise way to do it. You know, this is my 4th one. I'm gonna enjoy it. I'm gonna ski well, and I'm just gonna, you know, just hit one out of the park. I mean, that's my goal. I think that there's not. I'm trying to show more personality. I'm trying to show more behind the scenes. Oftentimes in winter sports, especially, like, we're covered up, we've got masks on and goggles, and like our sports are very visually appealing, and so oftentimes like athletes will lead with, you know, examples of like, hey, here's a flip, here's this, here's that, which I've done a lot of too. But I think bringing people in to show them who I am as a person and what my opinions are, maybe like my ideas, is something I've, you know, never really experimented with, so I'm having a lot of fun with that. Mount Hood is a very special place because it's where I kind of grew up there a little bit. I mean, I did 3 years of high school right at the base of Mount Hood, this place called Windell's Academy, now Y East Academy. I spent some time in Portland, eating great food, going to amazing haunted houses, but Mount Hood is so special because it's just, you know, it's a giant volcano. You can ski on it like 250 days a year. And you know, there's just an energy in those pines, in those northwest woods that I'll never stop going back to.
Do you have your cell phone on you?
I do.
Would you mind sharing what your home screen is on your cell phone? Is it anything interesting? Is it your...
Sure, I'll show you. You want me to just put it up? Yeah, sure.
The camera, tell us about it.
So this is a picture of my girlfriend and my cat, and they both kind of have a bit of attitude. My 2 favorite girls, right there.
Look at that. Here's a great. There you go. That's a great picture. Look at that. It's framed very nicely, by the way. You know your photography too.
Yes, I do. Makes it easy on the new iPhone.
Not a lot has changed. I still really love skiing. I still go out there and build my own jumps, whether it's for filming or to slide down handrails in a city, and still pretty similar mentality when it comes to skiing. It feels pretty good when it all comes together on the first one. Takes a little bit of the edge off. Wish I could have followed it up with an even better run after, but you kind of have this big adrenaline come down after landing your first run, so usually it doesn't work out for me that way. Usually I land my stuff in like the last run. So it felt good to get it done on the first one. I think it's just the rarity of the Olympics. You know, every 4 years you get one shot. A lot of these other events we're doing a handful a season, or you know, at least once a season. So it just kind of elevates the stakes a little bit. You know, all the stars kind of got to align on this day, that week, whatever it is. You got to be on your A game for the right time. So there's slopestyle skiing and big air skiing. Big air is one big jump, and you get usually 3 runs to land your 2 best tricks. They have to be slightly different. And then slopestyle is a series of jumps and a series of rails kind of all tied together into one run. You got to make it down this whole course in one piece, and you got to execute it flawlessly while spinning different ways, flipping different ways, and also hopefully having some cool, fun, creative stuff as well. There's some pretty big jumps in there. I think like the smallest jumps usually we're going off are at least 60 feet just to get to the landing, so we're usually going 80 or more. And then the rails are like another, they're usually 30, 40, 50 feet long, so you got to balance at the end of them, and it's not always easy to perfectly slide to the end of the rail, so it's a lot of factors playing to slopestyle for all the stars that align to get a perfect run. I don't know about opposite sides, but they're spaced out enough. Obviously, I think we do slopestyle first, get a couple days off, and then big air next. So, but by the time we do all the practice days for both events, it pretty much spans most of the Olympics, so we'll be there for a while. It all starts somewhere. For me, it started off just having fun with my brother and my friends, skiing the local little resorts near where I grew up in Switzerland. Nothing extravagant, no big terrain parks, none of that stuff. And then a big part of it was my dad bought us a little trampoline for the backyard, so I started learning to do a couple flips on that thing, get my air awareness up. And then also, we had a hill behind our house, and it'd snow every now and then, and I built a bunch of rails out of old wood scraps and PVC pipes I'd find in junkyards, and kind of just nailed them together and built a little terrain park so I could ski after schools, because we didn't live close enough to ski resorts after school. So after school, I'd ski on the hill behind the house when there was snow, and then weekends we'd go up to the resorts.
Do you ever look back at that kid and wonder what that kid would think of you now? Like building your own terrain park for the most part in your backyard to what you're doing now?
Yeah, I mean, looking back, that kid would be pretty surprised I'm sitting where I'm sitting. He'd be pretty proud, I think, but not a lot has changed. I still really love skiing. I still go out there and build my own jumps, whether it's for filming or to slide down handrails in a city, and still pretty similar mentality when it comes to skiing. How do you keep up, or how do you stay ahead of the curve? Definitely. Think about that all the time. That's just kind of, part of what freestyle skiing is about. It's such a young sport that it's just constantly going up and up and up and up. So for you to stay ahead of the curve or keep up with the curve, it's tough. You spend a lot of time on snow. You better make sure you love it, because if you don't love it, you're not going to want to ski enough to stay good at it. So for me, luckily, it's kind of been a natural progression of just my career and staying in the flow of things. I've never had to think about it too much in that sense, but you're always trying to figure out the next trick, trying to figure out how you put a twist on things. What trick could you do better? What's the move you want to work on for next year? So that stuff you're thinking about it, but it comes naturally if you love the sport enough,
And sometimes establishing a trick, right? Like coming up with something.
Yeah, definitely. That's a big part of the game. It's always hardest to come up with it. People will follow if you come up with it, but being the inventor is always going to be the toughest part. So that's not easy, but you try your best to think of new things.
That'd be a good feeling to come up with.
Yeah. I've done it a couple times.
Yeah, you have.
Yeah, I've done it a couple times.
And then everyone's like, yeah, I'm going to try that.
Yep, that'll happen sometimes. But it's a compliment is what it is. People want to follow in your steps, and I think the main thing is you make something look fun, and if you make it look fun, your other competitors are going to want to try it, and you're going to inspire kids around the world to do it. So if you're trying something new, making it look new and having fun doing it, that's kind of how you're going to get the most people following you, I guess. Speaking for myself, I don't follow a lot of these sports that closely, whether it's summer or winter. I focus on myself, on my skiing, but when I'm at the Olympics, I'm going to cheer for my my random teammate who I met who does curling or hockey, which I don't know much about, but I was able to meet them, hear about their story, and I'm going to root for them as a person. So I love that, and I don't know. It's pretty special getting to represent your country on a stage like that, and wouldn't consider myself as like the most, gung-ho, patriotic, like in-your-face person, but when I'm at the Olympics, I'm proud to represent the U.S. I want to show what I can do as a person and hopefully bring it on a big stage, and I think it's something that hopefully people can get behind as, whether it's an athlete or the whole team, the whole U.S. team.
And then if you're lucky, hear that national anthem and see that flag hoisted higher than the rest, which you've done.
Yeah, maybe if you get lucky, that'll happen. We'll see.
Put in enough work.
Exactly.
And get lucky.
Yes, exactly. Bit of both. It's always a lot of work and a bit of luck.
Do you have your cell phone on you? Is my last question.
Yeah.
What, if you don't mind sharing, or maybe you don't, but we're asking athletes what's on their, just their home screen.
I got nothing fun. You can see it, but it's boring, unfortunately.
Sometimes that's what we hear, and then it's like, oh.
Tell me that's not boring.
Is that the stock picture?
That's the stock.
You haven't even changed it.
It's just stock.
You got nothing going on that you want
No.
to put it.
That's what it is.
like not even a picture of you winning gold.
No, I would never put that on there. That feels weird to have yourself on there. If I'd put like a picture of a mountain or one of my goofy friends or my girlfriend or something, but definitely not myself with a medal.
My Lord, you got a girlfriend and she's not on your phone?
I know, right? I'm screwing up. I'm screwing up. It's good though, you know. Then you keep all the fun things off your phone. You spend a little less time on your phone and more time checking out what's happening in the real world.
Present in reality.
Trying to.
Less screen.
Easier said than done.
It's amazing to be a part of Team USA, and I love around the Olympics just buying into that and going all in as much as I can. You know, yeah, wearing red, white, and blue, getting the nail polish done, the earrings, just being as festive as possible and just buying into that Team USA, US spirit. I think that is the beauty of sport. That's the beauty of the Olympic Games, is it truly brings everyone together. You know, just in my own little world of skiing, like me skiing and my family coming to World Cups and following me around has brought all of us together. It's brought so many people from different views and whatnot together to be able to just cheer me on. And I feel like that's the same on the world stage of, you know, it brings everyone together to cheer for your country and unite over that. Both my parents were professional mogul skiers as well, and my brother always loved moguls, and so definitely was, you know, something there. But I tried all the different ski disciplines. I did alpine, big air, big mountain, skier cross, and with moguls, it's such a unique sport, and it adds, like, it's every aspect of skiing packed into a run. You have the speed, you have the jumps, and you have the technical skiing, and it just, in a run as fast as you can do it. Yeah, so speed is 20%, jumps are 20%, and then the skiing is 60%. With the jumps in there as well, like, it's a lot of impact, it's a lot of force on the body. My back is definitely feeling that. But the better you do it, the more seamless you can make your line, the less impact it really is. The best advice with skiing moguls is keeping your eyes and hands up, trying to look 5-6 bumps in front of where you're going, and instead of, you know, right down at that next bump, trying to kind of seek out your line.
I tried that. It didn't work.
maybe 2 bumps, maybe 3 bumps.
I tried.
It can be really hard. It can be really, the conditions are so variable with winter sports, you know, and maybe it's, you know, really flat like, maybe it's some like light fog. Obviously the judges still need to be able to see, but you train and prepare for that as much as you possibly can, and whether you can see that well or not, you just try and rely and trust your abilities, that, you know, you've trained enough to be able to do that run in your sleep.
Everything happens for a reason. So yeah, you got to step back and kind of wait for that reason to come to light.
So you are an Olympian. You've been to the Olympics before.
Yes.
2022, arguably though, is a bit different type of Olympics.
It sure was. Yeah, it was a bit of a unknown, a bit of a joke for some of us, like just not knowing if we were gonna even make it to our event, getting tested every day, and our family and friends not being there. I mean, I can't tell you how special the opening ceremony was, like just to feel that. But the rest of it was a lot of like waiting inside, like, oh man.
Yeah.
Just walking out into the bright lights and a huge stadium, and just, you know, being with my 3 other friends, competitors, and then all the other teams. It really felt like we made it, you know. It's like just the celebration of being at the Olympics was awesome in that moment. Yeah, especially with like all the media that goes around it and all the outfits we get, and people are writing you letters, I haven't heard from in years. They come out of the woodworks. Like, I couldn't tell you how many messages I got. Go for gold. Like, it was wild.
You can do it.
Yeah.
A lot of support.
It's awesome. A lot of support. Yeah, and it's crazy the effect it has on anybody you've ever met. And I really appreciate that side of it too. You know, I was a spectator and fan of my friend Josh Christensen when he won in 2014, and I just remember thinking of him as like a superhero, and it's cool to be on the other side of that. Not that people think as highly as I did. I'm sure there's like young athletes that do, but
I'm sure there are.
It's awesome, man. Being an event in the Alps, I couldn't really imagine a better place. So yeah, my parents already booked flights and stuff. It's looking good.
Your life has included something different than most athletes.
Yeah.
You shattered your skull in like 30 some places.
Yep.
You almost died. You were induced into a coma.
Yep.
And to go into that kind of place and come out of it changes a person.
Yes.
And you look at things different. It's like, yeah, the Olympics are kind of a big deal, but there are bigger deals out there.
Mm-hmm.
And you've experienced them.
Yep. That's exactly right. And, you know, going through something that traumatic and, you know, almost life-changing, I felt like I was just so lucky to even breathe another breath. I came out, yeah, like you said, enjoying just every day. So, you know, everything's a bonus. Everything's icing on the cake at this point. And I just take that mentality into everything, and it takes a lot of pressure off my shoulders because, you know, I've already achieved so much in those 9 years, and I'm like forever grateful. I mean, every time I go to bed and hit the pillow, I'm just like in awe of, you know, a higher power or something that has allowed me to experience this. And just because it seems so miraculous, it just seems like, you know, it seems written. So for me, I just have as much fun as possible and try not to overthink it, because it's easy to get caught up in the mind, man. The inner voice can sometimes lead you astray, whereas, you know, I just like to go outside and tear it up. So
just have some fun.
Yeah, just have fun and share that with friends and fam. And our team is awesome, so just like put in music and just laugh my way to the podium. That's kind of the vibe. Yeah, literally, like whatever.
It could be the
comes.
podium, might not.
Might not be. All good.
Yeah.
You know, and I learned that in the 2018 Olympics when I tore my shoulder out right before, and I didn't go. I couldn't go to the Olympics, and it crushed me because I was like destined that it was going to be my time. And so I just don't put that much weight on anything because of, you know, if the inverse does happen, I don't want to be totally depressed or anything. So yeah, enjoying the whole process, man. Everything happens for a reason. So yeah, you got to step back and kind of wait for that reason to come to light.
What do you have for your home screen on it, I wonder?
Alaska, baby. That's a face I skied a couple years ago in Haines. Yeah, it's Southeast Alaska. That's what I do in the meantime when I'm not competing. I go heli skiing and ride my snowmobile and make movies. Yeah, I just released my latest project called Phantom. It came out on YouTube yesterday. Just check it out.
I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
My name is Paula Moltzan, and I'm an alpine skier.
You are a really good alpine skier, and you're coming off of a really good race.
I sure am.
Silver?
Yes, second place.
What a run.
Yeah, it was great. It was the opening race of the year. 2025, 2026 is starting off here. So to start the Olympic season with that kind of result kind of maybe allows for a little bit of confidence to be building inside. We have 6 girls that are extremely talented in giant slalom, and there's 4 Olympic spots. So I think it's gotten a bit competitive, and it's for the better. It's really pushing the level of our team to be above the top tier. Yeah, I think as a team we have great camaraderie. We spend a lot of time together. We kind of know all of our ticks, and we know all the good and bad about everyone. So I think those like intimacies of our relationships allow us to celebrate all the big moments, but also be there for the moments that don't feel as good.
You just got married in 2022, a few years now, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And I love this, to your ski tech, right?
Yeah, he was my boyfriend first. Come on. It makes it sound a lot worse. We've been together since 2013. We met when we were 16 and 17, and he was a ski racer as well. And yeah, we met, and then it just progressed into this evolutionarily changing relationship where he became my coach and technician. Now he's just my technician, but now he's my technician and my husband. He plays a lot of roles, which is always interesting.
It makes it sound like, oh, if you want to have your skis dialed in perfect way, marry your tech.
No, don't do that. I can't recommend it, but I'm happy that I have it, because on the road, having your husband travel with you 9 months a year would be, it'd be sad if he wasn't there. So I'm happy to be able to share all of our experiences together.
Yeah, especially in a situation like Italy. It's beautiful, romantic, and it'd be the Olympics.
Yeah, exactly.
The Olympics are always incredibly exciting. Yeah, I mean, it is like the pinnacle of our sport. And so obviously there's an increase of attention, and with that an increase of opportunity too. And I mean, yeah, it's nice to kind of have that focal point and have that excitement with so many people. I think every sport has that kind of severity of difficulty that, yeah, I mean, skiing, especially downhill skiing, it's thrilling and there's a challenge to it, but ultimately I'm in that scenario because of all the work and preparation that goes into it. I mean, I was talking with, you know, a skier earlier today just about what, like, they do in their sport and how I could never do that, but, like, you know, doing flips and doing, you know, all these different types of tricks are just insane to me, and it's because they, you know, prepare in that environment, whereas I'm preparing in mine. A brutal thing about the sport is, I think, in a way, the unpredictability from race to race. And I mean, for me, I feel like I'll get this feeling of freedom, and, you know, I go out and race and I ski unbelievably, and when I'm doing it though, it just feels so natural. And then when I go to a different venue trying to replicate that same feeling, and it does not work at all. So it's about that adaptability from one venue to the next, and also recognizing, you know, previous success doesn't always it does not predict what's going to happen in the future. And so knowing that you kind of always have to be evolving and always have to be giving your best. And also, you know, you never know what day is going to be a good day, so you might as well go out there and give yourself the best opportunity. The difference between a season-ending injury and success is, I mean, it just comes down to one bad turn. So you know, you always kind of have to go out there and find how far you can push yourself without going too far. Understanding those limits that we all have, and trying to, you know, always navigate that as best as possible. But it's not easy. I mean, that's why there is such a high, you know, injury rate in the sport of skiing. Yeah, I don't know what to expect yet. I mean, my experience in Korea was, honestly, there weren't that many fans. There were less fans there than most World Cups. And so, or at least competing in that environment, I actually feel like I fed off of it and found it was easier to just do what you're there for. Like, the purpose was so clear, and that was the skiing. And then same thing with Beijing with no fans. It was kind of the same thing. Like, we just had this whole mountain we got to play with and have fun, and you're so removed from everything that's built into the Olympics from the viewer's standpoint. So I kind of hope that, in a way, Italy will be like that. Obviously, I want fans there because it's fun competing in front of a crowd, but it's also, it'll be cool too if it is kind of a small thing that we are removed, because I think it'll for me, it'll feel like I can just fully focus in on the event itself.